tvplus.com.
WNYC members make it all happen. As an independent, not-for-profit news outlet, listener support is the largest share of our funding. Your donations allow us to bring you in-depth and comprehensive news every day. And just as you rely on WNYC, know that WNYC relies on you. Please become a member now. Just visit WNYC.org and click on Donate.
Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next, and then in 10 minutes at 9 o'clock, it's the BBC NewsHour on WNYC. Let's check in with London and see what they're working on. Hello, London.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm James Menendez. Today on NewsHour, Narendra Modi's BJP party is trying to put together a new governing coalition after failing to win an outright majority in India's election. Also, the tragic consequences of sexual extortion online. We'll have a special report. That's BBC NewsHour at 9 on WNYC.
67 with clouds right now. Still have some fog out there this morning. We will for a couple more hours here. Mostly cloudy and 81 for a high today. And then tonight we'll have to watch out for some showers and some thunderstorms, a low around 70. Tomorrow, showers and possibly a thunderstorm once again and a high of 82. Friday looking dry, mostly sunny on Friday and a high of 83. We have delays right now on 7 trains running in both directions after EMS responded to someone in need of medical assistance. It's 8:52.
Turning sidewalk into even more useful square footage.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. Customers can simplify their insurance needs and protect what's important by bundling home and auto. Learn more about bundling at progressive.com. And by the Wall Street Journal. From the boardroom table to what's on the kitchen table, it's your business.
First, there's news the Amazon Labor Union is going to link up with the Teamsters. This will give the grassroots Amazon Union a shot in the arm as it struggles with divisions within its own ranks. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer reports.
The Teamsters announced on X that its board unanimously approved the affiliation with the Amazon Labor Union at a meeting yesterday. The Teamsters have long wanted to unionize Amazon warehouses. The affiliation still has to be approved by members of the two unions. The Amazon Labor Union, which represents workers at just one Amazon warehouse in New York, still hasn't been able to negotiate a contract with Amazon. It's lost union elections at other warehouses, plus a dissident group formed. The ALU Democratic Reform Caucus pressured the Amazon Labor Union to hold elections. The Teamsters have been trying to unite the various organizing efforts at Amazon. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
There's news a private sector count of payrolls shows only moderate job growth in the month just ended, 152,000 more people. That's less than forecast for May, and another hint the economy is cooling in the fight against inflation. The official jobs report's due Friday. S&P futures up 0.3%, NASDAQ futures up 0.5%. The 10-year interest rate is down at 4.31%. We're also reporting on news that a brand new stock exchange is being pulled together in Texas. What will they call the index? The Dallas, the Longhorn? Marketplace Morning Podcast will have that later if you miss it on the air. And indeed, some sectors of the economy that make stuff, manufacturing and construction, have lost steam, according to the latest data. Key measures of factory activity came in just so-so. Meanwhile, the government reports that construction spending fell for a second month in April.
Blame the slowdown on high interest rates and weak demand for manufactured goods, says Kathy Bostjancic, chief economist at Nationwide.
Manufacturing activity really has been subpar, and what has been driving the economy is service consumption, not goods consumption. So that's why manufacturing is soft.
High interest rates make everything from building a house to buying new business equipment more expensive. The slump hasn't extended to jobs, though.
Manufacturers have been more reluctant to lay off workers because they're concerned that when things pick up down the line, it'll be harder to staff up again.
That's economist Bill Adams at Comerica Bank.
These are physically demanding jobs. They have inflexible schedules, overtime, and those jobs are harder to staff than a job where people can work remote or hybrid and sit at a desk.
Manufacturing employment's been stable over the past few months. In construction, it's been rising. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business. From small business to big enterprise and everything in between, Amazon Business helps simplify the supplies buying process. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by How We Survive, a podcast from Marketplace. Climate change is dire, but there are ways we can make a difference. Listen to the new season of How We Survive wherever you get your podcasts.
Now to learning from cities adapting for the future of how we work and live. Driven in part by the enduring rise of remote work, in Brooklyn, New York, an effort to give New Yorkers something they covet, a bit more space. It's about extending temporary pedestrian spaces, which helped many get through lockdowns, into something more permanent. Here's Marketplace's Nova Safo.
We started our visit at a bagel shop on Berry Street, which is in Brooklyn's Williamsburg neighborhood. The street is cordoned off from most traffic for a 1-mile stretch, and outside that shop, Victoria Maynard was at a table having breakfast.
I think it's a lot nicer to sit on the sidewalk of a cafe when there's not cars zooming by all the time. If it was a bunch of honking, I don't think I'd be having my bagel here right now.
Maybe a bagel with fumes.
Yes, exactly.
Maynard is a remote worker. She moved to Brooklyn from Manhattan during the pandemic when closing Berry Street, along with a few others, was done as a temporary measure. The idea came from the so-called Open Streets Project, championed by a Canadian nonprofit and an American urban design and research firm.
Even when things were closed, I used to meet a friend every morning for a walk, just because we couldn't really go out anywhere or do anything, but we could always walk.
In the post-pandemic era, city residents convinced officials to make the Berry Street closure permanent. And that's been transforming this part of Brooklyn. At a nearby convenience store, owner Jose Rodriguez says he's seen a change in his mix of customers. More pedestrians are coming in.
I like it like this for the pedestrian. You get more people walking around, and we got people like that happen to be by, like walking around. They're walking.
The pandemic absolutely supercharged the open street movement.
That's Solveig Entwistle, a volunteer with the Berry Street Project. She gives us a walking tour, highlighting changes to make the street more friendly to pedestrians and bicyclists.
This is called epoxy gravel here.
She points down at a crosswalk.
Delineates to someone that this feels different than the regular pavement.
Prettier, too.
It is a lot prettier.
She also points to a nearby parking garage.
We're familiar with someone who owns a section of this. He came to the community board. I met him at a community board meeting, and he is converting this parking garage, at least half of it, into storage units because he did not make any money from parking.
Not all of this change is welcome. New York City is facing a lawsuit from a group of disabled residents. They say closing off streets to vehicles and erecting barriers is hampering their ability to get around. Those suing could not be reached for an interview. But Entwistle says the Open Streets experiment is worth trying.
It's a unique opportunity to meet your neighbors, which in a place that kind of feels sometimes lonely, it's kind of curing the loneliness epidemic in that way.
Did it do that for you?
Absolutely.
Other cities are also experimenting with similar projects, including Minneapolis, Salt Lake City, and Fort Wayne, Indiana. In Brooklyn, New York, I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
As part of Nova's series, he also looked at several projects in the city of Detroit, including General Motors' plans to move into a new headquarters and Ford Motor Company's restoration of a post-apocalyptic-looking train station there. Marketplace.org has those stories now. In New York, I'm David Brancaccio. It's the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.